By the heck, Annie, that was good. When I woke up this morning, I said, never again, never another pint will pass my lips. I felt that grim. But things are never as bad as they seem, are they?
Oh, I don't know, Len. Some things are. Poor Sergeant Donnelly's tragic death, for instance.
Aye, that makes you think, doesn't it? No matter how sheltered your life is, violence is never all that far away.
No, indeed.
Is Emily in?
Just. Emily, wanted! Well, were you able to cancel the outing for the Panto?
I've given all those tickets to a lot of kids. If you can call things like that kids.
Really?
Really?
Yes. Len, Sheila.
Any luck?
Well, I'm afraid not, Mr. Fairclough. The idea of squiring 20 children of this rather uninhibited kind is apparently anathema to everybody.
That means they're scared of him. I don't blame them, so am I.
Oh, what are we going to do then? We can hardly send them unaccompanied.
Of course not. We've never finished paying for the damage they'd do.
You've really no need to worry about them kids being looked after, you know.
But we have bet nobody's going with them.
Oh, but they are, Mr. Tatlock.
Oh, but we know him, yeah. But who else?
Well, with Albert, who else do you need?
Do you want the paper, Albert?
I've seen you, damn now. Read it from back to front before you were even up.
Oh, you are an early riser, aren't you? Oh, I think you should take something for that cough. You mustn't neglect a cough, especially in the winter.
Look, as you don't seem to be able to take it, I suppose I'll have to ask you straight out, won't I?
Well, I'm waiting.
Well, when are you going to start making dinner?
Whose dinner?
My dinner. Your dinner. I mean, you're living here now and you'll be eating here. So I expected...
Oh, well, I shan't be eating my dinner here today. Rosemary Kennedy's asked me to have my dinner with her.
Oh, well, that means I'll have to get me home, won't it?
Well, what do you usually do on a Wednesday?
Get me home.
Oh, well, then nothing's changed, has it?
No, but you might have told me about it a little bit sooner. Oh, wait till I've got time to boil a blooming egg now before I go for the outing.
Oh, I thought the outing was off on account of what happened.
But it's not off. Life's got to go on, you know. No good moping.
I'm not moping, Albert. I'm just very sad that a kind young man that I knew and liked should have died the way Joe did. Very, very sad.
Thank you, Mrs. Barlow. That's fine.
Is it all finished now, Inspector?
Well, no, not quite. We'll have to have the Donnelly inquest, then we'll probably have to reopen the Sergeant Tanner inquest. Well, it looks as though it'll all be a formality.
Only looks.
Well, Donnelly certainly, but Tanner, well, let's say things are falling into place.
But Joe was very definite. I mean, that's why I was so scared of him. He definitely said he killed Steve Tanner.
I think that's quite clear in your statement, but there's one or two loose ends need to be tied off.
I don't think you altogether believe me, do you? You think I'm telling lies or exaggerating?
I believe you, but it's not just a question of me believing you. It's a matter of gathering evidence. There's quite a lot of evidence to be gathered, all right?
All right. I'm sorry I lost my temper, but I still feel jumpy.
Ah, well, you've had a rough time.
Do you know what the worst of it was? Feeling that I was all on my own, being amongst all the people, even my own family, but still feeling I was on my own.
You could have come to us. You should have come to us.
Well, I thought about it all the time, like, but he had me scared.
No. Well, it's all over now. Tell me, where can I find your father?
Oh, well, if he's not at home, he'll be in the Rovers drinking the free booze on the strength of what he did or tried to do.
Is he in the habit of being foolhardy, your father?
Do you mean brave?
In a way.
My dad brave. That's funny, that is. Very funny.
Well, I'll be off. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you for being so decent.
Don't sound too surprised. Goodbye.
Everything all right?
Well, let's say it's better than it was.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Do you know, I know that I should feel as if a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders, but I don't. I still feel depressed.
Me too. It's Christmas Eve tomorrow.
Because of Greg, do you mean?
Yeah. I enjoy his company.
And I thought him and Gary was hand in glove with Joe.
I'll miss him when he's gone. Story of my life.
I just want to make absolutely sure that you understand the position, Mr. Tatlock.
Of course I'm sure.
Nobody but you is going this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I prefer it that road.
No other adult, I mean, from the street.
Oh, no.
Some children are going.
Oh,
Yes.
well, that's no odds to me, is it? I mean, they're not my kids.
No, but they will require a little looking after.
What do you think I am? When I'm with kids, I keep my eye on them, you know. I see that they behave themselves.
Well, of course you do, Mr. Tatlock.
Look,
I'm just making sure.
Have you ever seen a panto? Have you?
Yes, but...
It's absolute heaven. What with comics and chorus girls, and not to mention Good Fairy. Seeing all them kids there with their eyes wide open with amazement.
Hiya.
Are you getting a beer in for us, mister?
This gun, you see, pointing straight at me flipping chest. I thought I was a goner, honest I did. I've never been so scared since casino.
I'm not surprised.
Then what happened?
Well, he must have shot himself.
Didn't you see him?
I had my eyes shut, hadn't I?
You know, I think I'd have turned and run.
Well, I heard this bang and this bump. It must have been him hitting the floor, you know.
You must have fallen at your feet.
Oh, how terrible.
No, well, I had a call the table between him and me, like, and the bump made me open my eyes and took one look at him and I took off.
I'd have been petrified.
Would you like a drink, Stan? I know I feel like one now.
No, thanks, no. It's not going down too well. It's the shock, I think, you know.
Poor lad, to go like that so far away from home.
You know,
I don't know, love. He's no angel, that
It's
fella.
funny, but I went in there with a fixed intent on thumping the living daylights out of him. But somehow now, I feel sorry for him.
No, I don't feel sorry for him.
I'm not sure that I do either.
Well, nobody starts off being like that. The world makes them that way.
I'm not too sure about that, Mrs. Sharples.
Hey, Stan. That police inspector wants to see you now. He's waiting at home.
What for?
He didn't say, love.
4 and 10, please, Alan.
Like a drink, Mrs. Ogden?
Oh, can I save it?
Save it?
Yeah, you know, for another time. I can't drink it now, you see, because I'll miss what the inspector wants to see Stan about if I do. Between you and me, I wouldn't be surprised if it's to do with him getting a medal. He's got guts, you know, as my Stan. Tempered in war.
Tempered?
Hardened.
Stan?
You've heard of people that believe the moon's made of green cheese?
Yeah.
Well, Hilda Ogden not only believes that, she swears that it was made on Milky Way.
Hey, you're not supposed to laugh out loud like that round here until next Easter.
Oh, you haven't seen what we've just seen.
The kids have just started turning up for a panto trip. Them? Aye, them. I tell you what, they look as if they could strip a plantation. I wouldn't be in charge of them if they was bound and gagged. How about you, Elsie?
Well, I just hope there isn't a monster in this panto.
Why, Elsie?
Why? They'll frighten it to death.
You're like a lot of flaming wild animals. You're not getting on this coach till you behave yourselves.
Hey, come on, kids, you ain't got Mr. Making sense. Get in the queue. Please. Get in the queue.
By gum, that's better. Much better. I hope somebody's coming with this lot, because if not, this coach is not moving.
Keep your shirt on, mate. Albert's going. He'll be here in a minute.
I hope.
All I said was I wouldn't like Mr. Tatlock in charge of any outing I was going on, chowing at me and moaning.
I know precisely what you said, Bet, and I wish you hadn't.
Well, he is a bit of a wet blanket, isn't he? He doesn't even like kids, never mind understand them.
All right, Bet, you've made your point. And you've also made my quite determined neutrality untenable. I better go and ring Ernest.
Well, what for?
To tell him I'll not be into work this afternoon, as I'm going to a panto and then on for some Chinese nosh, as Mr. Fairclough puts it. Oh, why, if there has to be a sacrificial lamb, does it always have to be me?
What did I do?
You pricked her conscience, that's what you did. And it can't stand that us pricking Count Emily Newton's conscience.
I think Inspector's likely to want to see you, love, if what Irma said is true.
Yeah. I don't know whether to be glad it's all out or sorry that it's all been stirred up again.
Well, I'd be glad it's all out.
Do you know who I thought once did it?
Len.
Oh, clever as well as handsome.
But it wasn't very difficult, was it?
Len used to be my sort of knight in shining armour. Oh, not too shiny for me. And when Steve turned nasty, I thought he might do something. Something, but not that.
And he didn't.
No, but I think he thought about it a lot.
Hi, Elsie. Helen.
Oh, so they weren't lynched after all.
Oh, come on, Elsie.
I thought you were in trouble.
If I don't think about it, it might just go away.
Hey, we got a good idea, Elsie.
A great idea.
No, I'm sorry. You're not going to be allowed to strip down the Rover's return and take it back to the States brick by brick.
Not unless the price were right, and I got a handsome commission.
Well, look, it kind of occurred to us that we being Americans and visitors, well, we kind of owe you good people something.
Kind of a debt.
Yeah, for all the trouble and worry that Joe has caused.
Well, it was hardly your fault that Sergeant Donnelly chose to come here.
Well, no, but, well, we thought that we'd like to throw a party here, tonight, and everybody invited, eh?
And everything on us.
Well, it's very generous of you, but I'm not sure. People are very downcast. For instance, they didn't feel like going to the panto.
That's true.
Oh, come on, after all, it's Christmas time. What do you say, Alan, Elsie?
I don't know, Greg. It seems to me a bit too soon.
I don't know. Perhaps Greg's right. I think a party might be a good idea.
Of course he's right. The sooner you put the upset behind you, the better. Life's made for laughing. Every chance you get, and I should know. I've done my share of yelling.
Well, it's all arranged then. A party on us?
Fine, fine. I'm going to start right now. So get 'em in, Bet, as they say in, what's that place called? Oswald Whistle, is it?
They say it all over Lancashire. We're noted for it, and mine's a milk stout.
Hey, Albert! Albert, have you died or something? Albert! Albert! Where are you going, love?
To a premature demise, I shouldn't wonder.
Albert! Hey, stop!
All right. I hope they've got a seat left for me anyway.
There'll be no flipping bus if you don't get on now.
Up.
Away you go, then. Yeah, have a good time. Ta-ra now.
We're on our way to battle. We shall not be stopped just like a tree. Standing by the water.
If you'll just sign your statement, Mrs. Caldwell.
My full name?
Yes, please.
Oh.
What's up?
Well, I've got a funny full name.
Now, what's funny about Minnie Caldwell?
Well, my name's really Minnie Carlton Caldwell.
Carlton?
It was a singer that my mother admired, Madam Carlton. I don't think she was a madam, though. She come from Widnes.
By heck, and I thought I knew more about you than you did about yourself.
Oh, no, that wouldn't be possible, Ena.
It's a big temptation to put it all down to Will going to dogs.
It wouldn't be true, Mrs. Sharple.
Wouldn't it? It's not the first time this sort of thing's happened, and I don't suppose it'll be the last. But don't you think it's happening a bit too often?
Yeah. You see, thank you. There's more of us for it to happen, too.
But I thought we'd all got more sense, we were better educated.
Education, the hope of mankind.
Well, I thought it were.
To a degree. I agree people are better today than they were. More trusting, more humane, more tolerant. The trouble is education doesn't help our villains, it simply makes them smarter.
Joe wasn't a villain, Inspector. He was very kind to me. He never harmed me.
Villains is just one of our words, Mrs. Caldwell. We tend to use it rather indiscriminately.
I shall always remember him as a very kind young man.
So he was, Mrs. Caldwell. To you.
Hello, Flint and Company Aid, Mrs. Walker. Hey.
And who do you think's going to eat it all? Unless you're thinking of calling for reinforcements.
Well, now, then, who do you think these two fellas are here, eh? This is Rod Malone and Mary Uccello, two buddies of ours from Burton Wood.
Oh.
And mine hostess, Mrs. Annie Walker.
Anne?
Oh, sorry, Mrs. Ann Walker.
How do you do? Where should we put the,
Well, some on the bar, love, and the rest on the tables.
Okay.
Oh, and don't forget, Mrs. Walker, tonight, nobody pays for a single drop of booze.
Well, it's all on your check.
Yeah, you bet it is.
You know, I'll say one thing for these Yanks.
Besides them being bumptious and loudmouthed, you mean?
Yeah, they're very generous to the natives.
Oh, personally, I thought they were poor Father Christmases in civvies.
You know, if I had to put my money on who'd be first at a free party, any free party, I'd put my money on Len Fairclough.
And on Billy Walker.
Yeah, well, it's part of my charm, you know. I'll have a pint.
My boy.
And me. What's all this, then?
It's a gesture from the heart, something rather beautiful in this day and age, and unusual, particularly in this part of the world.
Oh, I don't know. I've got a little ring round Mother's Day on my calendar. You never know, I might buy you a bobbin of cotton.
Yes, a typical northern male remark, if I ever heard one.
Anyway, cheers. Cheers.
Hey, cheers. Yes, whiskey for me. Hey, Len. Do you suppose that could be Albert Tatlock?
The Albert Tatlock?
The very one, and not a bruise on him either. Well, Albert?
Well, what?
What happened? Why aren't you in little bits all the way from here to Manchester?
Well, why should I be? I kept the German army at bay. A few kids and me a child's play.
Well, where's Miss Nugent?
Now, it's funny you should mention that. She gave a low moan in that Chinese cafe. I think it was just when them youngsters started flicking rice at the woman in the fur coat. Any road, she got up, walked out, and I haven't seen her since.
Maggie, you sure it's all right? We can always go somewhere else,
Yeah,
you know.
no. You stay where you are. It's time I got changed anyway. Excuse me.
Thank you.
What do you want with me, Inspector?
I think you can guess.
Oh. You believe it, then, that Joe Dinelli killed him?
Oh, yes. Mrs. Barlow and Mrs. Caldwell are reputable witnesses.
I suppose so.
So I can close the file. Soon, anyway.
I was saying to my husband, Alan, I'm not sure whether I'm glad or sorry.
Well, I am. Open verdicts is a messy business. Means you haven't done your job.
You tried hard enough to do your job.
Was I tough on you?
Shall I say that you didn't pull your punches?
You didn't tell the truth?
Oh, well, I had my reasons.
It's always better to tell the truth.
Oh, yes, well, you would say that, wouldn't
Yes, but lies have a habit of getting you deeper into trouble instead of out of it.
Well, I can think of one or two whoppers I've told in my lifetime that didn't do me any harm.
I'm talking about telling lies to the police.
Oh. Tell me, did you really believe that I did it?
Say, you were on my list of suspects.
Well, that'll be something to tell me grandchildren.
Yes.
Load of V.
Hey? Brandy, dear.
Oh. I honestly thought I'd reached the end.
What happened? You look as if a bulldozer's pushed you through a roll of barbed wire.
Bill, where's your manners?
Oh, you don't have to spring to my defence, ladies. I'm aware I must look even worse than usual, but I've had a rather nerve-wracking experience.
What? I thought old Bill had something to do with it.
Hey, look, if you're talking about me, don't.
What did he do to you?
Oh, that's just it. Precisely nothing, or not to help, anyway.
Go on.
Taking the bus, for instance, I had enough to do trying to prevent the more boisterous children from disappearing en masse through the emergency door without having to adjudicate on a squabble between Mr. Tatlock and a 10-year-old about who should sit next to the window.
Well, I paid for my seat, hadn't I? Which will make side of more than any of that lot had.
Then there were the incidents in the theatre.
What incidents?
First he wanted an aisle seat, then he asked the woman in front to take her berry off, next he insisted he couldn't find the gents unaided.
Well, I'd found myself out each street once looking for it, hadn't I?
He insisted on telling the story of the pantomime in a loud voice before it actually happened, but his masterpiece was the noise he made eating a packet of crisps. He totally drowned the voice of the principal boy.
Yeah, well, I'm a better singer than she were.
But the last straw was in the Chinese restaurant.
Don't tell me he asked for gravy on his chicken and fried rice.
He had plaice and chips, actually. But he spent the entire meal grumbling because there was no rice pudding on the menu. I had to flee. It was either that or madness. Total madness.
I'll tell you what.
What?
I had a smashing time.
Well, they do say, don't they, that second childhood is much better than the first.
Ah, well, then you've got the sense to enjoy it, haven't you?
You know, it's very nice to see.
What is, Mrs.
Shows you he bears no grudges.
Who?
My Stan. I mean, he's got every right to hate you lot, but he's very tolerant.
We won!
Don't be the first time you played this flipping game.
It sure is, on my honour.
Queen says a whitewash next time.
No, not me, Stan. Look, I've got to go and see a lady.
You're on.
Right, medal for diddle.
Okay.
You only need one flipping yard, here.
It's a real pleasure to see you now. He's a cosmopolite, is my Stan.
Aren't you coming then? I don't want to be a wet blanket.
Well, I can't say I'm going to be the life and soul of the party, but honestly, I think it's better than sitting here looking at one another.
Well, if you go, we won't be, will we?
Okay, I'll see you.
Hi, Earl. Maggie. Hi.
Hello, Greg.
Irma tells me that you're playing at being Cinderella.
Emma? I thought I was just tired.
You're, not coming to my party then?
No. Am I being rude?
A little.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You're forgiven.
But don't let me spoil your night. I mean, you go back.
You know, I've had a good time this trip, Maggie. Well, I mean, you know, forgetting Joe and all that.
Have you?
Yeah, quieter than usual, but nice. More befitting my age, huh?
I see.
We're taking a plane back to Germany tomorrow.
Oh.
Of course, it's not the other side of the world, you know. Where is these days, huh?
It's getting smaller every hour, isn't it? The world.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll be making more trips over to the UK.
Good. You'll be very welcome.
Can I depend upon that?
Yeah, Greg. You can depend on it.
Great. Oh, look, I brought along our own little party.
What a good idea.
Yeah, I was hoping you might think it was.
Giving me black looks won't spoil my appetite, you know.
I never dreamt it would, Mr. Tatlock.
Oh, what's my favourite lady having a drink?
Hey, I thought I was that. Another brandy, please. It seems to have accomplished a minor miracle and cheered me up.
Well, I think this is as good a time as any, if you'll excuse me.
For what?
Oh, public thank you to the Yanks. Of course, you know why she's doing it, don't you? Because of the brass they're spending, that's why.
How you feeling now, my old fruit?
Oh, okay.
So, Len, I'd be very much obliged if you'd ask for silence.
On one condition, love.
What's that?
But you're very quick about it, because I'm not going to waste good drinking time listening to a landlady speechifying.
Just think how different my life would have been if I'd have taken up with teetotalers.
You'd never have met me, love.
Exactly.
Len?
Yes, right on, love. Praise silence for Mrs. Annie Lilac Time Walker. Well, let's have a bit of hush, eh? Will you shut your gobs or I'll shut them for you?
Thank you, Len. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity of thanking our benefactors, Gary, Rod, Mario, for this evening. Out of their own pockets and quite unsolicited, they have provided all the refreshments, both liquid and solid, for the entire evening.
She's making out of it and all.
Now, some people might say that they're doing this as a sort of sop to their conscience for the tragic events of Monday. But I prefer to believe that they're doing it because they've come to like us.
Yeah. I've never met anybody I like more than me.
Who's going to have to clear up after this little lot for a pittance? Muggins.
Oh, shut up, man.
So, I would like to say, on behalf of you all, thank you, Rod, Gary, Mario. A happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year. And Greg, of course.
It's time I had a prosperous New Year and all. Could start with a rise from Mrs. Flippin' Walker.
Oh, ma'am, shut up and sup up, will you?
It's very good of Mr. Tatlock to take me in, but oh dear, Ina.
You don't have to tell me. I wouldn't put you for the perfect couple myself.
No.
And while I'm on my feet, may I extend my personal good wishes to you all. May we all enjoy the peace, prosperity, and the consideration to and from our neighbours, which we all so earnestly desire.
Which is exactly what she said last year, and look what we got.